Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Guys, what is going on? How y'all doing on this Thursday evening? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and for a rare occasion anymore these days, we are live right here on YouTube. I just heard a noise and it sounds like one of the cats, Creature, is in the window over there. I heard him shake it out a little bit, so he is chilling down here in the basement with me tonight. I also have a hair in my mouth. I got it out. I can't remember. But anyways, yes, we are here live for my live review. And, well, we're live tonight because I felt like I should go live because there is a handful of topics that I do want to talk about. We are going to, of course, review Raw. We are also going to talk about, I completely forgot to talk about last week's Raw review that I just managed to slip in. I did forget to talk about the debut of Joe Tessitore. Joe Tessitore, I believe, is Tessitore or Tessitore? I think it's just Tessitore. The new head commentator for Monday Night Raw currently. I forgot to address him and what I thought of so far his first appearance. Now, 2 appearances on Raw. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about some news that broke during Raw about the format of Raw for the for the rest of the year, starting next month. And also, we're going to end with me giving my brief thoughts and my opinions on if I'm going to watch the Vince McMahon documentary or not. Because I wanted to do that in a separate video, but I felt, you know what? There's a lot that I want to talk about that pertains, like, mostly around Raw. So why don't I just do this live? And I'll do what I did months ago, actually almost a year ago, actually, and do, like, a thing where, like, I'm going to take, like, the part I talk about the news about Raw's new format coming soon, and I also will take the portion where I talk about the Vince McMahon documentary, and I'll break those up into smaller videos and upload those tonight or tomorrow, one of the two. But we're going to talk about all that. So that's why I decided I'm going to go live. I was planning on trying to go live also for tomorrow night's episode of SmackDown, because it is the return of SmackDown going on to the USA Network. And I keep hearing rumors. I forgot to check my DVR to see if it's true or not. There's been rumors that SmackDown's USA premiere is going to be 3 hours. But after that, they're going back to 2 for now. I say for now because I think myself and a lot of people can see SmackDown going to 3 hours when Raw goes to Netflix. We will talk about all of that, of course, when we get to, which obviously is a topic when I was talking about when it was mentioned on Raw, that Raw is going to be going back to 2 hours starting on October 7th. We're going to talk about all that, of course, when we get to there as well. And I grabbed some Coke because it is almost 10:30 at night before work night. I had an exhausting day today, so I'm going to try to get some energy still here with some Coca-Cola. And go from there. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about all that. We're going to mix it up a little bit. Start off with Joe Tessitore. And then, of course, we'll talk about Raw. And then we'll talk about the news about going 2 hours when we get to that announcement. And then, of course, we will end it by me addressing my thoughts and concerns about the upcoming Vince McMahon documentary. Like I said, I will be grabbing, taking those clips out and posting them as links, as separate videos, probably either tonight or tomorrow. Most likely tomorrow, I would say, but we will see. Before we get into anything, of course, we'll check the live chat. But by the way, Raw this week was live from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And we also saw the appearance, for the first time I've always seen him, of Bret, the Hitman Hart. We had a return of his niece, Natalya, which was pretty predictable whenever it was first advertised and whatnot. And overall, it was still a good episode of Raw. We also had a decent women's tag title match. We also had a nice main event for the #1 contendership for Braun Breaker's Intercontinental Championship. We got a few matches settled and announced for Bad Blood. I'm not gonna lie though, not saying I didn't enjoy it. There are some things though, I would say mainly the stuff going on with Judgment Day, that is starting to feel just a wee bit repetitive. Like, it feels like they need something fresh. Just continue to do what they're doing. It's like 1 week, the Terror Twins stand tall. The next week, they get beaten down and whatnot. Like, it doesn't feel like there's anything different happening. Like, it's fine, like, because, the story makes a ton of sense, but it's like, okay, weekly, like, throw something new at me. And we're not really quite getting that, I feel like. But we'll talk about it. Let's check the live chat first. And we got Tyler here. He says, "Hi, Mike. Why the hell is Jey Uso getting another IC title shot? It's only a second IC title shot. But unfortunately, I don't like that Jey Uso seems to be just like a pushover feud. Or like just a feud to give someone a victory and win their first title defenses. I don't like that. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure if I'm really for doing the match. Because again, I'm pretty sure Jay's not winning. It's just a thing where, again, it's like, there's a ton of top talent, a ton of stars who are hot right now. But unfortunately, the top ain't big enough for everyone. And there's some people like a Jey Uso or Bronson Reed or a few others who are getting like the short end of the stick, really. But again, it's kind of a good thing because there's just a lot of people who are worthy of being on top. AW show Dynamite's turning in WCW 1999 Nitro. Yeah, Dynamite sucks. Dynamite just sucks, period. Shows don't make sense. I can't even watch them anymore. I still do, but I can't. The pay-per-views, again, don't get me wrong, when I watch them, they capitalize. The weekly shows, though, the build, oh god, it's a chore. A chore to sit through those. Raw 2 hours is a good thing. Yep. Tyler will not be watching the Vince McMahon documentary. Okay. I like that Gunther C. Goldberg to Bret. Yes. That probably was my favorite segment of the night. That segment with Gunther and Bret. That was really good there. And hashtag we want Becky. Don't know when Becky's coming back. Has anybody else ever heard any more updates on her? Because again, people were were responding to that cryptic Instagram post she had when her one documentary special came out, and then she said it was great being the man and whatnot. So it leaves us wondering, did Becky retire? I have no idea. We'll have to figure it out, of course, as time goes by. I still don't think she's done quite yet, but you never know. We'll see. All right. Let's get the show on the road, though. Before we go anywhere, before we start talking about Raw, I do want to talk about something, again, I forgot to talk about on last week's review. And that was the debut of Joe Tessitore as the new head commentator for Raw. I think him being on Raw, though, is temporary. Because I think from what I heard, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee will be the commentators for Raw when McAfee returns in January, when Raw moves to Netflix. So, I don't know what's going to happen with Joe Tessitore or Wade Barrett or Corey Graves, although I'm very curious about something with Wade Barrett. We're going to talk about that when we get to the segment with Drew McIntyre later on. Because I said last week something about that. There's seemingly something going on with Wade Barrett. Because he keeps sticking his nose in Drew McIntyre's segments as of the last few months. We'll talk about that, of course, briefly when we get to it. But Joe Tessitore as commentator. So far, he's grown on me pretty good. I do like, his uniqueness. I feel like his delivery is different. He at times kind of reminds me, he's not as good as Mauro Ranallo, though, let's put it that way. But there are times where he does kind of remind me a little bit of Mauro. And I think he has, energy at certain times where, the stuff that's not meant to be, ecstatic, he's not over-exaggerating it. But whenever it's something huge, he's on the ball. So far, I do think he's solid. I could tell, though, he's still getting some kinks out right now, though. And there's still things he has to learn. Again, he's a former ESPN announcer. He's used to calling others. I'm not sure which sport it was he was doing commentary for, but he's a little more used to that. This stuff, I can tell, is still new to him. He's still learning, but I would say so far not bad. I like the energy he brings and the uniqueness he has to his role playing in the show. So I think he could be a great asset, a great addition, and we'll see how it goes. I think him and Wade so far are a good team, and that's all I got to really say about it. I just wanted to briefly address that. So far, not bad. Again, I'm still getting to know him. He's still, trying to, earn my fandom. But so far, I will say he's doing good. Just keep up the good work. Alright. So then, of course, we get into Raw. And let me get my notes pulled up here. Okay. Yeah, so Monday Night Raw took place in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Home of the Calgary Flames, I think is the hockey team called. I think that's what it is. Also, there was recently those deaths of those hockey players, Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau, I believe is their name is, which, that's definitely, tragic. So thoughts and prayers to them. They were definitely acknowledged during this episode of Raw. I feel like James Earl Jones may have been also. I can't remember, but or did he die Tuesday? I can't remember which one it was. I don't know, but yeah, they even had a segment where they honored the Gaudreau brothers as well, who died in that car accident. But surprisingly, we opened up with the match that I thought was going to be the main event, but it wasn't. It was a team of American Made, Brutus Creed, Chad Gable, Ivy Nile, and Julius Creed taking on the Wyatt Six, which they sent out everybody except for Uncle Howdy wrestled this match. Dexter Lumis is in there, Eric Rowan's in there, Joe Gacy, and I think this was the first in-ring match for Nikki Cross as Abigail's witch. And if I'm being honest, I thought the match, of course, was great. It was a mixed atomics street fight. And I thought Nikki Cross was the best part of this match. She went out there, and I just saw a bunch of the old crazy Nikki from old, I thought, including the fact that she hit a suplex, a German suplex on Chad Gable. I thought that was a freaking awesome shot there. Great way to do it there as well. So great back and forth. A lot of carnage. Lately, I've noticed also people have been ripping barricades off the wall and using that as weapons instead of steel steps. I'm sure if Vince McMahon was around, let's do a padded barricade match. Oh, God, that'd be horrible. But it was still a great showing from both teams. The Wyatt Six, though, do get the win with Dexter Lumis getting the pinfall on Chad Gable. Now, I'm not going to lie, even though, of course, I know they want to make the Wyatt Six look as dominating as possible, I still feel like you could have maybe done some way to give American Made some type of a rub from this. Because don't get me wrong, some people can get over through losing. But American Made feels like a team where it's like, okay, you still have to throw them a bone at some point. Or else their heat is going to go away. And people will take them as seriously. So that is a little bit of a concern there, but I think they'll still be okay. But they still want to make the Wyatt 6 like super powerful. So of course they have to keep winning right now. So we'll see what happens. But that was a fun opener to do for sure. Afterwards, we then get Finn Balor coming out, making his entrance. He comes out and he basically calls out Damian Priest. He says Priest says that they screwed him, but in reality, Damian screwed the Judgment Day. He's been trying to hold Priest up, but the more he did, the more Damian held him down. And they were supposed to be brothers, but instead, he felt more like he got kicked the sidekick. And also, he should have been world champion last year, until Damian got in his way. And he continues to bicker until Damian Priest comes out and says, I give you a few seconds to talk or I'm dropping you on your ass. And then Finn says it's not how we're going to do it there, but he wants to prove that he's no sidekick. And he wants to wrestle Damian at Bad Blood. Which cool, works for me. Again, you can go back to their match in NXT, which is a match that we also believe is what made Damian Priest. And, yeah, I think that, I predicted that to not have a stipulation. All of you were going to give it one. You could always give that one First Blood. If they even decide to go with that. But that's my thoughts there on that one. Braun, oh yeah. Though later on though in the in the segment though, Rest Judgment Day come out and start attacking, and basically to set eventually up for Jey Uso to come out and save the Terror Twins. So again, are they going to be going all in, no pun intended, with this tease love angle with him and Rhea Ripley? I don't know if they will or not, but they could. But they tease that he basically is out there on side with the Terror Twins. So it's like, are they going to slowly build in a new army or something? I mean, this could lead to a War Games match or something. With, you know, the Terror Twins getting more partners. But I don't know. But we'll see where that goes. But Braun Breaker is being interviewed backstage. He says he's still banged up, but it's not using that as an excuse. And it takes a whole lot to keep him down. And then he also, I think, throughout the night was having backstage just talking with people like Braun Strowman, Ilja Dragunov, Pete Dunne, which don't call him Butch, just call him Pete, and Braun Strowman. He had backstage segments with all of them kind of hype up their match. I thought it was very well done. Speaking of the title matches, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defended against the Unholy Union. The match was fine. I just still think that, I don't know, like I said, I couldn't take this match seriously because I'm pretty sure after this, the Unholy Union will probably be going back to catering. They did lose the match, and like I said, they just don't have any characters to them at all right now. It's just weird, I don't know. But Bianca and Jade do win, but of course afterwards they do have a backstage where they ran the Damage Control teasing a tag title match. Man, I don't get it. I just don't get what the point is of them being faces. There's literally no story for them being faces. I'm exhausted. I guess also this was around this time where they announced. So let's take a break. Well, yeah, let's take a break from Raw. And let's talk about the announcement that Joe Tessitore made during one of the commercial breaks. So, or in between one of the breaks. So, it was officially announced, and WWE did confirm it, that that Monday Night Raw in October 7th, So I believe that is the first week after their regular deal with USA Network expires with Monday Night Raw. Starting on October 7th and through the remainder of the year, Monday Night Raw is supposed to be going back to 2 hours. From 8 to 10 on Monday nights Eastern Standard Time. Wow! It took them 12 years. 12 years to finally pull the plug on the 3-hour Raw and make it 2 hours. Now, that does, though, raise a lot of questions. I have questions, of course, too. Number one, is it permanent? Number two, how is that going to work? Because, let's be honest, for years I was saying that I wanted Raw to be 3 hours as well, right? Right now, though, with the roster they have, they could... I don't think... my fear is... Because, see, people are saying that it's rumored that SmackDown is going to be 3 hours. Which, I can understand why they would make it 3 hours on USA, because they're going from having Raw, NXT, and now SmackDown going to be on the USA Network for the next couple weeks. And that's basically their flagship show, because that is what's bringing more attention for viewers for their channel. Besides the fact, of course, that SmackDown is on it, going to be on it tomorrow, starting tomorrow night as well. Here's my problem, though. I think right now, if I had a choice which roster I would give the 3 hours to, it'd be Raw. I just feel like right now, Raw has a lot more talents. And they also have established talents. SmackDown doesn't really have that many, if I'm being honest. Like I said before, SmackDown's roster not only feels smaller, but it feels like it's full of a bunch of people that are still trying to get their groove. And like get like their footing in it. They're not seasoned. They're still green. And that's the problem with SmackDown. Like, if they want to go 3 hours, they're going to have to put more people on the show. Because with the roster they have right now, good luck trying to get an appealing 3-hour show. I'm just saying. It's just... I don't know. And the other thing, too, I'm worried that if they would put both shows, which Raw is going to be on Netflix, I doubt we could probably see any, like, you know, commercial breaks or maybe ads for those who don't pay, you know, the full price or whatnot. But, shoot. But yeah, I just fear, though, that if they would go to 3 hours now, they'd be screwed. Because the roster they have is not, and I repeat, not going to carry a 3-hour show. With the roster, how the roster on SmackDown is currently. They would have to make some changes, I feel like. And I know that also it's going to take away some opportunities, but sometimes, you know, just not throwing those random fillers out of opportunities could help in the long run. But yeah, I mean, like, yes, I agree. 11 o'clock on a Monday night's late. There are times where I haven't even made it to 11 o'clock. And I have dozed off during the show, like this week, and I had to play catch-up. But I still feel like, you know, this is the best thing to do for WWE, is go back to 2 hours, make the shows a little bit more watchable, and see what happens when we go to Netflix. That's basically it. That's all I really want to talk about for that. Getting back now to the review. Now, I believe this is when we had the first after the women's tag title match, we had a segment with Judgment Day and Finn Balor running into LWO, and it sets up for a match later on the show with Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio. We then had Bret Hart come out to make his appearance as advertised. He introduces himself to us, And they said they have an awesome announcement that Survivor Series is going to be in Vancouver. And tickets will begin to go on sale this coming Friday. Cool. Bret said this is the place to be. And no one back took more pride in being in the ring. Not just a champion, but a Canadian champion. He did that. Canadian champions will take on anybody. Never duck a challenge. And have to prove themselves, as he did, to be the best there was, the best there is, and the best there ever will be. And here came Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion. He came out and says he's about to pour his heart out to one of his childhood heroes. He repeats Bret's tagline and says this feels a little like passing the torch because, yes, Hart is the best there was, but he is the best there is and ever will be. Business aside, from the bottom of his heart, all the boys in the back watched Bret growing up. And here was everybody's favorite line of the night. Gunther then tells Bret was a childhood hero of him, and he wanted to tell him he'll always be a chosen second to his actual favorite wrestler, Bill Goldberg. I thought that was hilarious. Bret Hart has the history and apparently a concussion he suffered while wrestling Goldberg in WCW is what cost him his career, I'm hearing. Which, that, of course, is a shame and go back to, the days of, I don't know. But yeah, so we got a nice little shot fired in there. Sami Zayn came out and stood up for Bret. He tells Gunther he's got a whole lot of nerve talking to Bret Hart in this city the way he did. And it's not a joke. And Bret is a Canadian hero, and a hero to every single person in the city, and an entire generation of wrestlers in the back who study his matches. And more importantly, he's a hero to Sami as well. Gunther may hold a title, but Bret set the tone for what it means to be a champion. And when Seth challenged Gunther, he ran off. He always wanted to say he's the best there is. Fine, prove it. Sami vs. Gunther Part 2 for the world title. To which Gunther rejects it. Then, as he's leaving, Bret tells him he's not in his league. And Sami's as far away from being in Bret's league. And his answer remains no to Sami's challenge. So then he leaves, and then Bret Hart starts calling him like a gutless yellow coward. And then it eventually led to a brawl between Sami and Gunther. I still think, because of how many matches are on Raw, my printed card that I won, and they're making the pay-per-view shorter, which also, I did hear them again this week say local medical facility. I hated they said that. I always get this ink like, no, don't tell me he's back. No, don't tell me he's back, we don't. But, where was I going with this? But basically, Gunther showed some signs of maybe being scared of Sami Zayn. Because the last time he faced Sami beat him clean for his IC title. I don't know if it's going to happen again. Anyways, then we got Braun Baker talking with Pete Dunne backstage. And then after he talked to Pete Dunne, Pete ran into Sheamus and he hit him with a shillelagh. And that's set up for, I believe, a further match. Dominic Mysterio took on Dragon Lee. The match was fine. I definitely saw it better. I think when Dragon Lee first won the North American title, I think it was on SmackDown, I want to say it was. It was still a very fun match, don't get me wrong, but I felt they could have done just a wee bit better than what they did. Pure Fusion Collective took on Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, and opponent of their choosing, and they picked Natalya, as we expected to be. And they kind of made quick work of them, because Natalya just put in a sharpshooter, and she got Zoe to tap out to it. So she wasted no time getting back in there and being dominating. Hopefully things work out better for her. Oh, let's do this one. Drew McIntyre makes his first appearance since he broke CM Punk's bracelet last week. Punk will be there on Raw next week, though. Drew comes out. He says, all we do is talk about Punk. And he's done with him. And he's not going to let him just try and move on. Or like that after cross saying to the... I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I can't remember what I'm saying. Oh yeah, with McIntyre. Basically, he says that he's done. He has the same common goal that Gunther has, but he also advertises the fact that he's in Dave Bautista's new movie called The Killers. But then we had this interesting tidbit there. He says he's afraid he's got some bad news and he wants to address Wade Barrett. McIntyre tells Wade that he is one of his oldest friends and they go way back. And even were arrested together. Barrett is the only voice fighting for him as CM Punk hurt not just him, but the whole business, as he claims. Not true. So why did he step in the way when it was time to... And Punk, he's not angry, buddy. He's just disappointed. But if he does it again, he's not going to be disappointed. He's going to be angry, and he's going to do something about it. That's what he's referring to Wade. Which makes me wonder, okay, commentary in a few months is going to be changing up again. You don't think maybe they're going to give Wade Barrett another shot at commentary? I'm not going to say no to it. I actually do like that idea, but we'll see. I like the idea that Raw's back 2 hours. I don't like that I'm tired. I don't like that I'm losing my train of thought. The match, of course, with Punk and Drew's officially Hell in a Cell. Like I said, I wasn't sure if they were going to give it to Rhea and Liv, since, they're trying to block out some outside interference. Or, Punk and McIntyre. Because I thought, maybe after how the segment ended last week, I thought maybe they were going to do an ambulance match instead. Something my gut, though, predicted, it would be, gosh, I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm sorry. Let's just move on. But, after this, we have a, backstage with Karrion Kross talking to The Miz. Xavier Woods rolls up and basically tells him, yo, don't listen to him. Miz is like, he's right, though, and teasing maybe a heel turn, who knows. Kofi also rolls up, and of course, they have to continue this New Day storyline without Odyssey Jones, unfortunately, because Odyssey Jones may have gotten in some trouble. But, they are going to be having a tag, New Day's going to have a tag match against the Judgment Day, whatever they're called. And I believe it's going to be on the 10th anniversary of New Day was formed. You don't think there's a better time to not pull the trigger on that heel turn? I don't know. We'll see. Finn Balor took on Rey Mysterio in a good match. But same thing before as earlier. The Judgment Day got involved again, and it just didn't really do much different for me. So that's the only downside there. But it was still a good match. Afterwards, though, Finn, they basically beat down the Terror Twins and whatnot, and, lovely stuff. There, of course, was a backstage with Ilja Dragunov, and then the main event was the Fatal 4-Way match for the number one contendership for the Intercontinental title, which is Jey Uso, Ilja Dragunov, Braun Strowman, and Pete Dunne. Everybody's saying this was Jay's match to win, which, of course, he did win. I don't know if that is exactly his first match, though. I'm not sure why I thought that, but yeah, I don't think this match was quite as big as people thought, because everybody assumed that Jay was going to win just to lose, which it could still happen. But I think gosh, I'm sorry, guys. I might have to pull the plug here soon, because I'm just tired of losing my mind. Basically, the only two people I thought that could have won this was either Braun not Braun, Jay Uso, or based off his history with Braun, Ilja Dragunov. It ended up being Jay who won the match. It was still good. Like I said, I don't like the fact that Jay keeps getting these opportunities and he's just going to lose them because they have no room for him up top, which really blows. But I don't know. But that's how it showed up the air. And Jay Uso had to stare down with Braun, and that's how we closed out Raw. I am sorry, guys. I'm tired. I am exhausted. But I think before I go anywhere, which I gave Raw a B, I will squeeze in really quickly the thoughts on if I would watch the Vince McMahon documentary or not. So that's going to be pretty brief. I might end up just not even bother separating these out because, again, this has not been the best stream, and I'm barely staying awake right now, to be honest, guys. But let's get to the Vince McMahon news. So, it was announced recently that Vince McMahon's documentary that was supposed to come out, I think, a few years ago, but then it got delayed again amidst the allegations he had against him, which apparently, despite the fact that the main interviews in this documentary were not recorded until before these allegations happened. They are addressed, though. Is anyone besides me a little scared for this? Because not only, of course, do I want to see, how obviously towards the end he, didn't book well at all, and I wasn't interested, of course, seeing all that. I was interested in seeing, of course, well, I was just saying I was interested. I'm scared to watch this documentary, if I'm being honest. I'm scared because I have this feeling that this could be one of Vince's only chances to fire back at WWE about something he claims that he knows that he kept quiet about for the longest time. And I have this bad feeling that it's just going to it's going to hurt my perspective on the WWE. Like, I'm afraid it's going to reveal that some people in the company knew what Vince was doing, which I'm sure Vince will, try to point as many fingers as possible to get what he wants, because that's all he does. Yeah, I just don't know how I feel about seeing this documentary. Especially knowing that they do address the allegations, even though he hasn't truly been proven guilty. I don't know. I just fear, like I said, that's the biggest thing I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that he's going to expose something from someone in the business that's going to cause a disaster or something. I don't know. So I am undecided right now whether or not if I want to watch the Vince McMahon documentary or not. I may decide later on, but who knows. Guys, though, I'm sorry. I'm going to go to bed now. I am exhausted. I tried to get through this, and I don't think I succeeded very well. But I gave Raw a B this week. Again, I am interested in seeing Raw go back 2 hours. There's a few things I'm concerned about, but it is definitely best for the company, not make the shows overbooked. Joe Tessitore, again, is doing a great job so far as Raw commentator, and I'm still on the fence, and I'm a maybe as far as Vince McMahon's documentary series. We'll see what happens then, guys. But until then, guys, I'm going to bed. I'm tired. Have a great rest of your night, and do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!